Uh, I think greetings from India, greetings from New Delhi, and we welcome you all to this important meeting on robotic surgery, where we are having this session on SSAT, and we have a lot of leadership from SSAT, Professor Ranjan Sudan and Professor Matthew Walsh with us, along with Dr. Yalini Vigneswaran and Dr. Adam Saad, who came in from SSAT to represent in this particular conference. We highly appreciate SSAT for this. And I would like to tell everyone that SSAT has started an India chapter. And we have Professor Vikram Kate. He is in the hall now, and he was the first president. He is Dean of JIPMER. And now it is in the third year, and we are going to go ahead with this chapter in a big way. So we have very illustrious speakers with us, and I would request Professor Ranjan Sudan to introduce, and then we can have the talks, followed by an open house discussion with all those who are sitting inside.
So we have three people who are on the Zoom meeting. I'll just very briefly introduce them. Dr. Velanovic is the current president of the SSAT. He's a professor of surgery at the University of Florida in Tampa. Dr. Maria Altieri will be speaking on AI, and she is at the University of Pennsylvania and is a bariatric and minimally invasive surgeon. And Dr. Imran Hassan is the treasurer, and he holds the keys to all of the monies, and has made our travel possible through the generosity of SSAT and certainly the India chapter as well. And so Dr. Imran Hassan has been very involved with the international chapters, and I know Dr. Velanovic is planning to tell you more about the international efforts of the SSAT, so I will not steal his thunder. So Dr. Velanovic, without much ado.
Well, thank you very much for the kind invitation. We are certainly excited at the SSAT to have the India chapter and be a part of part of India minimally invasive and GI surgery. I'd like to take this opportunity to let's see if I can find it. Okay. You did have it. And like to take this opportunity to discuss the SSAT. We are an international organization of some 3,000 members. We have started a outreach program to the international community. We have now 13 international chapters. One of our latest ones is the India chapter. So we are hoping that this will lead to increased collaboration among surgeons, not only between the United States and India, but throughout the world. So once again, thank you very much for the invitation to join your meeting, and we look forward to the talks today at the SSAT session.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Velanovic. And would you like to start your talk at this point?
Yes, I will. Okay. Let's go.
While Dr. Velanovic is getting ready, he has been very involved in coaching in the operating room and how best to teach residents. So he will be speaking on that particular topic.
Great. Can you guys see my slides?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great.
You're on, you may want to go to slideshow. You're in presenter mode.
Okay. Can you still see them or no?
No, not at this stage. So you may want to just stay in presenter mode. Then.
Yeah, let me just do that because it went black. I don't know what's going on. All right. So this talk is not really designed for robotics, although hopefully some of the techniques that I'm going to talk about today will help with training your trainees on a robotic surgery. At the meeting there, I want to introduce Dr. Adam Saad. He's my partner. He is also the program director at the University of South Florida. So he and I partner on this surgical coaching initiative at the University of South Florida. So if you have any additional questions, he is there to answer them as well. Okay. There we go. All right, I do have one disclosure. I am a paid consultant for Intera Medical. This has nothing to do with this talk. So these are my objectives. We're going to discuss our program for operative surgical coaching for our surgical trainees. We'll report on some of the results of this coaching, discuss areas of improvements and how this can be implemented in other institutions. So I did have additional training in coaching. This is not something that we just started up. I did training specifically through the Academy for Surgical Coaching, which is run by Caprice Greenberg. Also did the LabCo Train to Trainers program through England. And here at the University of South Florida, we have a student program called the Select Student Program, and they also have a coaching program in which I participate. So the instruments used when we do surgical coaching are twofold. Both of them have been approved and vetted by the American College of Surgeons. One is the Simple tool, which is the system for improving and measuring procedural learning. This is one that now the American Board of Surgery has required for surgical programs in the United States. This is actually done here at the University of South Florida through an app that the residents and the faculty have. Also use the Ottawa Surgical Competence Operating Room Evaluation, which is the O-score, and this is what we use when we evaluate the residents. I would do this in conjunction with the faculty. So this is the Simple tool. It has 3 questions based on resident intraoperative autonomy, resident intraoperative performance, and case complexity. And it goes from 1, which is the least competent, to up to 4 or 5, depending on the level of patient resident involvement. Not to go into detail about the 5-point O-score competence scale. Again, it's from 1 to 5, 1 being the least competent, where the faculty had to do nearly every portion of the case, to 5, where the resident was completely independent and the faculty didn't even feel like they needed to be there. There are 8 questions based on either pre-procedure planning, case preparation, knowledge of the specific procedural steps, technical performance, visual spatial skills, post-procedure planning, efficiency and flow, and communication. So this is what the process is. Essentially, I go into the operating room and watch the resident and faculty do a case. I try to be as innocuous as possible and just kind of observe without really doing much from the standpoint of interfering with the flow of the case. And I would like to get there before the case actually started, so I can see how the resident helps sets up the operating room and to set themselves up for success during the operation. During the operation, I do record my observations of what the resident is doing, particularly focusing in on operative technique and ergonomics. And upon completion of the operation, I review the scoring scale with the attending surgeon. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's all on paper. I am hopelessly analog at my age. I can't do everything all online. So I basically have a piece of paper that has the scale. We basically circle whatever level that the resident is at. On the backside, there's the O score, and then we rate them from 1 to 5, depending on how they did. And this is actually, in my opinion, the most important part. These detailed notes on what the resident was doing during the course of the operation in order to discuss this afterwards. So at the end of the operation, once the patient is all packaged and off to the recovery room, this is where I have my opportunity to discuss the case with the resident. And I always start off with these 3 questions: how do you think it went? What did you do well? This is, quite frankly, the hardest question for the residents. They always want to jump with what they think they did poorly, but I firmly believe that it's important to know what you did well in order to do that for the next time as well. And then we talk about what they did not so well, and then what they either learned from the case, what they would do differently, and more importantly, what techniques do they want to work on for the next time, so that we can focus on that as an area of improvement. So these are the coaching numbers so far. I have coached 48 residents, which included 26 attended surgeons, with 119 total coaching sessions. And 6 of these included the senior residents as a teaching assistant. This I find particularly rewarding, because we both get to coach the junior resident in operative technique, and I get to coach the senior resident on how to be a better teacher to the junior residents. We had a median so far 2 coaching sessions per resident, with a range from 0 to 5. And you can see this is our breakdown by resident year. I don't know if that's similar in India, but the first year resident, second, third, fourth, and fifth clinical years. And most of them have to do with the 5th years because they are graduating, and I want to make sure that they get their good opportunity for coaching. So these are the results. And I was actually shocked when I first saw these, how good these questionnaires are in discriminating among the levels of the residents. The only one that did not have good discrimination was the actual complexity of the case, which is you wouldn't expect that. That's just a matter of what is available for the resident. That does not have to do with the resident's skill level. But as you can see in all of the other questions, as the resident got more senior, they were either better at doing the task or showed more independence in doing the task. And by the time they are 5th years, most of them were really independent, which is what we hope to achieve when we're training residents. So in order to get an idea of how our residents and faculty thought about the surveys, or thought about the coaching sessions, I did send out 2 anonymous surveys to both the resident trainees and the faculty. Got a pretty good response rate. I don't know how things are in India, but trying getting our faculty to do anything is always a lot harder than getting the residents to do something. So our response rate there was a little bit less. I'm not to go into a lot of detail, but just to kind of some of the questions, all the residents thought that the coaching sessions were valuable. They also all felt that there was an open exchange between myself as the coach and the resident. I have a little bit of an advantage because I'm not, the residents know me, and they also know that I'm an advocate for the residents. Most of their areas of improvement were in ergonomics, which is actually an emphasis of coaching for me. Did the coaching skills improve? But nearly all the residents felt that their operative skills improved because of the coaching, and what they would like is more sessions. And how the coaching sessions be improved, more sessions, and the other minor questions. From the faculty standpoint, again, over 90% of the faculty thought I was not a distraction in the operating room, which is good. One person thought I was intimidating, which I find very interesting, because I certainly don't view myself as an intimidating person, but I guess one person did. And then the question is, have you noticed any change in the residents' performance? About 6 said yes, 6 said no, and the rest were not sure. And this is something that there's probably the faculty don't see the residents on a longitudinal basis and may not feel that they see the improvement in the way that the residents feel the improvement. Most of the faculty actually wanted feedback from me after the operation, and most of them want to know how they can improve their teaching skills during the operation. This, I think, is very valuable for the faculty as well. And others have decided that, oh, they didn't even know it was available, so they will ask again. I don't try to force myself upon anybody there, but try to make it as comfortable as possible. Nearly all of them thought that this session should be continued. And again, there was some various things for improvement. One person wanted to know if I would coach in emergency cases, which of course I'd be happy to. And so these are the things that we're working on for improvement. Okay, so how are we going to improve this program? Is that we're going to have the trainees contact me if there's a particular case they want coaching on. They're going to inform me ahead of the case about whether there's specific skills they want to be coached on. If they would like intraoperative real-time coaching, I'm available for that, and just need to ask me. We're going to start a video review where residents are going to videotape cases, and this is Robotic is ideal for this. And then we will review this with all of our residents, kind of like how they review film for sports activities on how to improve technique, and they're going to consider coaching in emergency cases. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity to present this. I hope that you find this valuable in teaching robotics. And once again, from the leadership of the SSAT, once again, welcome to the India chapter, and we're looking forward to further collaboration.
Vic, this is Matt Walsh. Thank you for that. If there are any questions in the audience, please come up to the microphone. I'll just tell you all, Imran, Maria, and Vic, you're missing a great meeting. This is the largest robotic meeting in the world to date, and it's been really fantastic. And it's really wonderful that the SAT was able to partner. So I have a couple of questions, Vic. One was around coaching the faculty. Do you foresee giving more structure to that? I would think that would be equally valuable as much as the residents.
Yeah, in fact, the structure is the same. So when a faculty member at the end of the case, after we go through the questions, says, well, how did I do teaching? The structure is the same, you know? How do you think it went? What do you think you did well? What do you think you did badly? The structure is the same, actually. The coaching techniques really are the same from the faculty or from the resident, from anybody else. You know,
But Vic, we're all very compulsive. We want to score.
Oh, well, see, then that one of my tasks is to get you to think not about scores, but to think about how do you want to improve from the standpoint of a more qualitative activity.
And help us, how does Maria roll this out at the University of Pennsylvania?
Well, I get that question now a couple of times. First is you got to get an old guy like me that's kind of at the end of the career who does not mind taking a pay cut because that is what ends up happening. So this is, I segued kind of in this as kind of a, for lack of a better way, a retirement job. It keeps me involved. It's very satisfying. So the first thing is to find somebody who wants to do it. The second thing is send that person for training. Coaching is not something that you can just kind of wing. You do actually have to have some training and also some mental self-discipline in order to stick with a coaching program rather than just wanting to jump in and try to quote unquote fix everything. The whole key to coaching is getting the coachee to see how they can improve their skills with the techniques that they have, rather imposing your own will upon them.
Front microphone.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Vilanovich. It was great to hear your insights. My question is, this coaching is just mainly of surgical skills, or is there anything where you work on the mental mindset or psychological aspect of surgeons to improve either residents or faculties?
Vic, could you hear that?
Yeah, it kind of broke up a little bit, or something, not
Okay,
just about
so
coaching
the
skills.
question was, are you mainly concentrating on technical skills? Or are you also concentrating on the non-technical skills, primarily the emotional aspect of how a resident is participating in the case?
Yeah, actually, so although this started off as looking at technical skills, except for question 8 there of the Ottawa scale, which is communication, I particularly focus in for the senior residents on how they're managing the operating room, how they're communicating, and how are they basically engaging with the other members of the operating room. And I bring that up as necessary. Quite frankly, I am more interested in how they think about the next step of the case from the technical standpoint, rather than the actual physical aspect of it, although we do talk about that. And so I don't know if that kind of answered your question, but communication and particularly management of other OR personnel is something that we do discuss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So this was a question from Brijesh Dubey, who is SSAT India member. And we have Dr. Selvasekhar from UK. I think he has a point.
Yeah, thanks very much. That was a fantastic presentation, Dr. Vilanovich. I've been involved with LabCo TT for around 10 years when the programs sort of finish. One of the problems we used to have is if I see you in theater for the first time, I think my skill set will go down because if I don't know what you would be expecting. So what would you prime the trainees? Because as a male, I would struggle to do two jobs, operating or looking at what you're looking at. So how do you train the trainee or the coachee on what to expect? And how do you, is there a program you have for them? And the second thing is after, I don't know, we did fellowship with Imran Hassan in 2006 at the Mayo. It is nice to see him as well. Thanks very much. Good to see you, Imran. So just a question to both of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Thank you for that excellent question. Yes, so to answer the first question, one of the things that it really dawned on me as I was starting this, as I was doing coaching, is I realized how much I didn't pay attention to the residents when I actually was operating with them, because I was focusing in on getting the case done. So actually being a third person in there, not having to actually do the operation, is an advantage, because I'm able to be aware of aspects of the case that were oblivious to me when I actually was operating. With regard to what setting expectations, I actually haven't done that because I kind of want to see where they're starting from, and also to see where they're going as when we start doing these multiple coaching sessions. So basically, I can do coaching sessions for the same resident 2, 3, 4 times. It's actually quite gratifying when they say, "Oh, Dr. Vilanovich, I changed this because of what you said." So I don't know if that quite answered your question, but I think from the standpoint of the faculty, probably setting expectations on how they should proceed might be a good idea.
No, thanks very much. Just to touch upon finally about the tele-coaching, tele-mentoring, what are your thoughts on that?
What do you mean by that exactly? If I was like in this type of situation where I'm kind of like piped in, or?
No, you are somewhere in your office and then you're coaching somewhere in another part of the world.
Yeah, so if it, usually like with the Academy of Surgical Coaching, how that's done is that the coachee basically has a video of a case that we would go over. I haven't done real-time coaching someplace else. I think that that would be pretty difficult because I walk around a lot during the operation, seeing where the resident is standing, and how their feet are placed, how they've managed to set up the room. So I don't know if telecoaching is going to be as effective.
Teleproctoring is a little bit different where you're actively engaged in giving real-time feedback. But I had a similar question, Vic. The concept of the black box, I don't know if University of South Florida has that. And just for the audience, where there's universal capture of data in the operating room, visual, audio, where you can look at interactions and give some sort of assessment of how the operations proceed. Do you think that's an alternative to having a bunch of old surgeons in all these operating rooms?
Well, I guess yes and no. In fact, Tampa General Hospital is starting to incorporate that technology. They are using it primarily to increase efficiency of the circulating nurses, very, very frankly. It might be helpful, but I tell you, you kind of lose the feel of the case if you're not there real time. I guess it's a difference between like going to a football game and then watching it on TV.
Your partner misses you and has a question.
Hey, Vic, great talk. You missed an absolutely fantastic meeting here. But my question to you was, I know when you initially started this, it was intended to really coach the residents, and you kind of transitioned a little bit and started to coach the faculty. Can you talk about the insights you've sort of got from that with the faculty side of things? Because I think a lot of faculty have approached me and said, "Hey, this is absolutely fantastic."
Yeah, well, I don't know if I got many more insights. I do notice that it's the junior faculty that want the coaching more than the senior faculty. We kind of lost the video there.
We're hearing you. You can continue. Yeah.
Okay. I do notice it's the junior faculty that wants more of the coaching than the senior faculty. I do think everybody wants to be a good teacher that's in a faculty position, and they will want to know, or at least want to develop techniques on how to do so.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Milanovic. And I just want you to know that there are 570 registrants for this meeting. The conference rooms have been packed. It's been very vibrant. The food has been outstanding. Just again, to reinforce what you're missing. And
well, thank you. Thank you for making me feel bad about that. I actually am disappointed that I'm not there.
And certainly our hosts have been very gracious in allowing us to sightsee around Delhi and surrounding areas as well. So with that, I'd like to introduce Dr. Maria Altieri. Dr. Altieri will speak about AI in surgery, and she is at the University of Pennsylvania, which is one of the premier institutions in the United States, and she's a bariatric and minimally invasive surgeon.
Thank you so much. Just a second, let me just make sure that I have all my slides. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see very well.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Good morning. I guess it's afternoon there, but early in the morning here, and greetings from not so sunny Philadelphia. I would like to thank Dr. Bendel for this opportunity and kind invitation, the SSAT as well, to discuss such an important topic, and of course the moderators, Dr. Sudan and Dr. Walsh. I'm also sorry that I can't be at such a great meeting, but it's great to see that you guys were making there and that you're having such a great experience. So I don't really have any relevant disclosures to this talk, except for that I am a minimally invasive and bariatric surgeon and definitely not a computer scientist. So I surround myself with a lot of smart people to participate and help with this work. And my talk is on artificial intelligence in surgery, and you can't pick up a magazine at this point without seeing information about big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and understandably, this can be a little overwhelming. And when we hear the word artificial intelligence, we think of something futuristic. But in fact, we're using artificial intelligence even today in several ways. Think about the autopilot car, ChatGPT, which I'm going to talk about shortly. We're also hearing about prediction models in business and in law. And these are all forms of artificial intelligence. And what it is, it's machine mimicking human intelligence. It can be, as I mentioned, driving a car, machine basically driving a car, or machine recognizing faces in photos, or recognizing one structure during a procedure specifically for surgery. And while it's thought to be something futuristic, it's actually happening now. Definitely not a new term. It was coined last century, and the roots are from several disciplines, as you can see there: robotics, statistics, computer science, etc. And everyone, at least in the United States, has heard about the successes of ChatGPT, which is an online chatbot. It's basically a natural language processing tool that is trained on vast amount of language data and looks for patterns in relationships. And new text is generated based on the language that it's trained on. And just to showcase some of the successes, passing the bar exam, which is the law exam, pretty impressive score as well. Passing the USMLE, which is the medical school exams for us, and then passing the medical boards. So pretty impressive advancements there. And let me break down artificial intelligence a little bit further, because it's like a global term, but it actually encompasses four subsets: machine learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and artificial neural networks. So it gets a little bit, I'll try to break this down in a more simplistic form. So machine learning, it's actually interchangeably being used as artificial intelligence, but it's only a subset that focuses on the development of algorithms and models that enable computers to learn from data and make predictions or decisions without explicit programming. So the primary goal of the machine of machine learning is to allow computers to improve their performance on a specific task over time based on more data that they're exposed to. And there's several kinds of machine learning. There's unsupervised learning or traditional learning. There's supervised learning or reinforcement learning. So traditional or unsupervised is basically you're throwing a lot of data in the machine and trying to see if they can recognize a pattern. Supervised is where you actually know the answer and you're giving the data to the machine and trying to see if they will figure it out. And then reinforcement learning is basically driving the car. As the model learns by interacting with an environment and receiving feedback in the form of rewards or penalties based on the actions it takes. Then you have computer vision, which is another subset that focuses on enabling computers to interpret and understand visual information from the world. And the goal is to develop algorithms and systems that can make sense of visual data, similar to the ways that we as humans perceive and understand the visual world. And then there's the components of it, which is image acquisition, processing, image extraction, object recognition, tracking, 3D reconstruction, and then scene understanding. I briefly mentioned natural language processing in the form of ChatGPT, but this subset focuses on interaction between computers and humans through natural language. And the primary goal is to enable computers to understand, interpret, and generate human language in a way that it's both meaningful and relevant contextually. And this is specifically relevant for large data sets, such as the electronic medical record, and physician documentation, so forth. And finally, artificial neural networks. These are processes, signals in layers of simple computational units. It's basically inspired by the structure and the function of the human brain. It's a subset of machine learning algorithm designed to recognize patterns, make predictions, or perform specific tasks by mimicking the way biological neural networks actually work. So why is medicine, and more specifically surgery, such a great field for AI? It's because we have a lot of data. We have the electronic medical record, we have medical imaging, we have labs, vitals, videos, and it is a misconception that it's difficult to actually find annotation tools. Those are actually mostly free. What is important is the data and the quality of the data. So in fact, most people compare big data to the oil and AI as the engine. So AI can't function without the data. And let's look at some of the applications. So providing accurate data, actually the FDA approved this AI tool called AccuRhythm. I'm not sure if anybody's aware of it, but this is able to identify true dangerous rhythms, but also say that when a rhythm is actually not dangerous. Then we can also look into interventional insights in endoscopy and colonoscopy. We rely a lot on our own eyes, and there are tools to identify lesions and to state that this is a malignancy versus not a malignancy. Also identification of images during radiologic images, and for education, as Dr. Vilanovic mentioned, in terms of improving surgeon performance, or team dynamics training, providing real-time guidance and quality improvement projects, QI. So in the United States, there has been an increasing emphasis on healthcare quality measurement and improvement. And within general surgery, several sophisticated quality measurement and outcome systems have been actually developed. We're talking about NISQIP, which is the National Surgical Quality Improvement Program. The use of selective referral centers, centers of excellence, for example, for bariatric surgery. We have the Surgical Care Improvement Project now, the WHO Surgical Safety Checklist. So surgeon participation in this is key. And we as surgeons are constantly trying to improve our techniques and to make changes based on our outcomes. We aim, of course, to provide the best care for our patients. However, a trend may not be apparent based on just a single surgeon's outcomes, right? And so that's why we have registries. And in the United States, we have several registries. They're national, statewide, society, and those are done to improve patient care. However, not everything is included in these registries, and what they're missing is probably the most important information, which is what's happening intraoperatively. We might have some small details like MBSA QIP, which is our bariatric database, might have things like bougie size, et cetera. But it's important to have more specific information. And so this is where videos and artificial intelligence can actually help. So if outcomes are associated to something that's happening in the operating room, how can we improve if we can't pinpoint exactly that event? And so again, this is where video and video-based assessment and AI can help. And so a lot of research has been done on video-based assessment, and we kind of touched upon this in the previous talk as well. Michigan has done a lot of this research, and this is an article that was published in JAMA Surgery. They collected videos of 30 surgeons, close to 7,000 patients, and looking specifically into 5 aspects, controversial aspects of the surgery, and followed up 30-day outcomes and 1-year outcomes. 30-day outcomes, hemorrhage, and staple line leak, and then 1-year outcomes. And so the group saw that variations in surgical techniques can be measured by video review and are associated with different patient outcomes. They delved deeper, and they followed up with another study in which they looked into examining videos of laparoscopic gastric bypass from 20 surgeons. They reviewed the technical skills, and they were blinded towards the surgeon. And then skills rating and risk adjustment complications rates were compared. And what they noted was that the surgeons that were in the bottom quartile, they in terms of their technical skills, had higher rates of complications, higher rates of mortality, longer operations, and higher reoperations and readmissions, just showing that skill can be evaluated by examining video. The other question that they posed is, can your outcomes and your skills in one procedure actually be translated to another one? And unfortunately, what they saw is that the surgical skills didn't correlate with the outcomes to other procedures. So where do we go from here, right? So we saw that surgical skills can be associated with specific outcomes following those procedures. We saw that most likely, though these are some small data sets, skills were not associated with other procedures. So like your skill for one procedure didn't technically correlate with outcomes and skills in another procedure. So we need videos of specific procedures and data sets that are linked to those videos in order to evaluate long-term data. And this is where the efforts will have to be multi-institutional, multi-societal to collect really good data. So most of us do use videos for teaching and assessment, but what are some other ways? So one way is to improve the workflow of a surgical team by observing the team. Another way is to use artificial intelligence to predict surgical times, which can be further used to improve efficiency. And we talked about this in terms of OR black box, and now I have a slide in a little bit. Another way is to detect deviations, which may lead to complications. And finally, evaluating the surgical fingerprint, like what is actually happening intraoperatively and how does that relate to outcomes postoperatively. So here's the OR black box. This is an example of a system that evaluates and is designed to improve the workflow of the surgical team by observing them. And the OR black box is a device that continuously captures video, audio, and patient vitals. We actually installed one in one of our hospitals recently, so I'm really curious to see what some of the data that will come out of it. But it's designed in mind to reduce medical errors, to increase efficiency, to enhance teamwork, to help educate existing and future providers. What it is essentially, it's video cameras and audio that are attached in the operating room and captures all the activity 24/7. And it's also, it is associated with the electronic health record and the anesthesia monitoring systems. So here's another example of how artificial intelligence can be used. This was published in Annals of Surgery by, at that time, the MGH group, Oz Morales and Dan Hashimoto, that examined 88 cases of laparoscopic sleeve gastrectomy. They used majority of the sample of these videos to train the artificial intelligence, and then they used the 30% to actually test the performance of the artificial intelligence. And the question was whether they can train the artificial intelligence to identify the operative steps, and actually did with a pretty good accuracy of 86, close to 86%. And here's another example of using AI intraoperatively for intraoperative teaching. This is a project that was started by Amin Madani. I had the chance of participating in this. And it was utilizing one of the most commonly performed procedure, laparoscopic cholecystectomy. We do a lot of these, probably it's the most common procedure worldwide as well, but we do about 600, 700 in cases per year in the United States. And since we switched from open procedure now to laparoscopic procedure, our bile duct injury rate actually increased in the United States. It's something reported of 0.4 to 0.6. And some people might be like, well, this is still a small chance, but if for the amount of procedures we perform, that equates to a pretty significant number of bile duct injuries is reported there. And this translates to increased hospital costs, litigation costs, and then poor quality of life for the patient. But in most of this, the bile duct injury is due to perception, since we are working in this two-dimensional world now, right? And so what about if we can have an intraoperative guidance system that can guide you, that's trained by AI? And this was published in Annals of Surgery. And our goal was to train an artificial intelligence model, basically, to identify structures and also to identify, more importantly, the safe or the go zone versus the dangerous no-go zones of dissection. And so we annotated a lot of videos and a lot of frames of videos. And then we taught this AI to identify the anatomy. And with the premise that this technology will eventually be used to provide real-time guidance and maximize the risk of adverse events. And so basically, and here's the exciting part, and this is something that Amin is currently testing, this is an artificial intelligence. This is the AI working real time right now with a little bit of a delay. The green part is the safe zone. This is the zone that you have low probability of causing a major bile duct injury. And then the red zone is basically the danger zone. And so the AI was trained on a lot of videos, and it has never actually seen this video. So they're testing it right now in the University of Toronto to see if this can be something that can be utilized to help surgeons while doing their dissection, to kind of guide them of where to dissect. So in conclusion, while AI holds great promise in surgery, it is essential that we ensure some of the ethical consideration. I mean, patient privacy, supervision of the AI. AI cannot work by itself. And then, of course, data ownership to ensure that we do have the best outcomes for our patients. So the integration of AI in surgical practice is an evolving field with continuous advancement. And I'm really excited of what's to come. This is the lab that I'm part of. It's called the Picasso, which is Pan Computer Assisted Surgery and Outcomes Lab, which is headed by Dan Hashimoto. And together with Eric Eden, we are hoping to have some pretty exciting projects. So again, thank you for the opportunity to share some of our work and also discuss such an important topic. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there, but I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Alteri, for a wonderful talk and taking us through what AI can get to us in surgery. I think everyone loved it. So now I think we can invite audience to participate. So this is basically a session where we wanted SSAT to be introduced to the Indian surgical community as to what SSAT is and what can it bring. And we have a lot of leaders and teachers in the hall right now. So maybe I would request Professor Kate to please come up on the mic and speak about his stint with SSAT. Professor Vikram Kate is Dean of JIPL Pondicherry, and he has been the President of India chapter. And he has a long stint with the SSAT, and then we'll ask some other teachers to please come.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vivek, and it's good to see Dr. Ranjan, Dr. Matt, and it was nice meeting them at New Orleans meeting, and fantastic lecture, Dr. Maria, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. And of course, from the president, Dr. Vic. It's very nice that we have it all started with Professor Nick, contacting me, and then he said, why not initiate a separate chapter of the SSAT India chapter. It had an association with Indian Association of Surgical Gastroenterology a few years back when I was the president, but due to some reasons then there was some sort of dissociation. So I discussed with him that it was a part, but then he said instead of associating with any of the Indian associations, have it as an independent chapter. So that is how we started. And many of the members which were actually enrolled during the IASG tenure, they are still continuing and being a part of SSAT India chapter. And we have a large number of active members compared to many other new chapters which were initiated in the last 2 years. And I'm happy that now Dr. Vivek Bindal has taken the initiative and he has taken it. We actually launched a chapter in a robotic surgery meeting, and this is the second time which has got such a large participation and audience. And I'm sure, I'm confident that more and more people would join SSAT, and a lot of initiatives are there from the SSAT for youngsters to travel to the US for attending the SSAT DDW meeting, which is held usually in May or June. This time it is in Washington, D.C., the 3rd week of May. And I'm sure many of them will take the opportunity. We had a meeting of the outreach committee just a few days back, and Dr. Imran was chairing that meet, and he mentioned that there are still few slots where they can offer places for people to travel to the US for this DW meeting so that they can have interactions in person with the leadership of the SSAT. So I'm happy to be here, and Dr. Vivek was very particular that Last time I attended this online, so this time I should be in person, and it is nice to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would now invite the leaders of various societies in the hall. Dr. Subhash Khanna, who is the president of Association of Robotic Innovative Surgeons. Sir, can you please come up to the mic and talk to the SSAT leadership? SSAT has partnered with ARIS and done this conference. Dr. Khanna is the president of ARIS, which has done this conference, and is now going to do the World Congress in October, in which SSAT can again partner and make it big.
Thank you very much for being a part of this first iconic historical event happening in India. And I think we didn't get the time to tell you it's being attended by over 500 delegates. And the first time we had all the 4-5 robotic systems available for all our delegates to do hands-on cadavers. So thank you. Loved your talk also. But then we would like to be associated in future also. Next annual conference is going to be announced today in the GB meeting. And not only that, we are also doing the Indian Association of Gastrointestinal Endosurgeons, of which I am the present chief trustee. We are also doing the World Congress of Endoscopic Surgery, and we are expecting 5,000 delegates in that meeting. We would love to invite you. I do not have the personal contact details, but you should be getting invitation from us very soon. And thank you very much once again, and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We have Dr. Pramod Shinde, who is the president of Abdominal Wall Reconstruction Surgeon Community, and he runs one of the biggest hernia societies in the country. So, Dr. Shinde.
Thanks, Vivek. You're the secretary of our Abdominal Wall Reconstruction Surgeons Community. And we believe that abdominal wall is an organ. It's not just an anatomical structure. And the core health of the abdominal wall is very, very important. And there is no way we can separate this organ from the alimentary tract. So, and we loved being here in this part of this session, and especially with the Society for Surgery of the Alimentary Tracts focus on research, on education, on training, on everything that is new, which is going to aid like artificial intelligence. And right now we are standing in a robotic surgery, one of the largest conferences in the world. So abdominal wall reconstruction surgeons community is all about standing for these kind of innovations. And we are basically wanting to learn, share, teach, and train everybody, right from the residents to the senior most surgeons, anybody who wants to learn on the abdominal wall reconstruction surgeons, on the abdominal wall reconstruction. And it definitely constitutes how to handle everything inside the abdominal wall, because we can't separate both from the two. So we would love to be associated, have these combined programs. We have many more conferences coming up, right from small to the largest one of the DI Surge. So we would love to be associated with this organization, and maybe like we have the SSAT in robotic surgery conference, maybe we could have the abdominal wall topics and kind of a workshop even in SSAT.
Absolutely, sir. I think this will be going ahead the motto, and we would want you to also join SSAT as a member. And SSAT will be blessed to have you.
Thank you. I'm there. I'll be there surely. Thank you.
We have many teachers. We have Professor Rajneesh Singh from SGPGI. And so what are your thoughts? Can you just share? You have been a GI surgeon and you have been involved in IASG and SSAT. So can you please share your thoughts and what do you think the direction
Thank you so much for asking for opinion from me. I'm actually, Dr. Kate mentioned our Association of Surgical Gastroenterology. I'm currently the secretary of the same organization. Unfortunately, our association with SSAT didn't last long. We would love to have it going again. Really enjoyed your candid talk from all the three speakers, especially from Professor Velanovich, because there are subjects which you broached, which in general in our culture, maybe we are kind of slightly touchy about, and one of them is teaching the teachers. And this is something which is very close to what I feel requires to be done in our part of the world. Wherein we have brilliant people, but there is a lot of heterogeneity, and hence the same thing gets translated to the students, and then we have a bit of credentialing problem as to who gets to do what and why. And I think AI can play a great role in that as well. So great, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We look forward to your continued support. And we have Professor Inian from CMC Vellore. He heads the unit of surgery. Christian Medical College is one of the oldest institutions in the country, and he is a prolific upper GI surgeon. So what are your thoughts, sir?
Thank you, Vivek. It was really wonderful. Basically, I'm as part of the IASG, I was sort of involved with the SSAT as well. Professor Kate was describing. I think basically as teachers, we sort of, my feeling is that we have a lot to learn. One for ourselves and also in terms of how this is being done for the trainees, etc. So it was wonderful to have the members of SSAT part of the conference. It was lovely, and thanks for the wonderful talk as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in and sharing your thoughts. We have Dr. Amit Gupta, a professor of surgery and heading unit at AIIMS Rishikesh. Again, a big teaching institution, and he does a lot of robotic procedures and a GI surgeon. So, Dr. Amit, please, your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek, for inviting me over here. I really enjoyed all the talks and wonderful talk on artificial intelligence by Maria. Though I am not involved with SSAT till date, but I would love to have membership and all other, academic activities, not only for me, but for my entire residents in surgery and surgical oncology department. And of course, we also look application of AI in a large way in our robotic division. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Jagdishwar Gaur, please don't leave. Please come. Dr. Ramesh Agarwala, the past president of Indian Association of Gastroendosurgeons and a trustee and research lead. We would request your thoughts, and then we will have Dr. Jagdishwar Gaur also to share his thoughts on SSAT.
So I think Subhash has already said everything about it. We all enjoyed your talk, and we are holding the World Congress of Endoscopic Surgery. This is the first time it's happening in India, and we are looking at somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000. And as Subhash has promised, we would want you all to be a part of it, and we'll see how we can work it out. And we would want your details and contact details, and we'll get in touch with Vivek to get it. And we'll be sending you invites and what program we have. It's going to be a 4-day affair, and it's going to be from 23rd of October to 26th of October, which is a very good time to have. And it's going to be in the cultural capital of India, which is Calcutta. So from where all the Nobel laureates of India have come. So it'll be quite exciting there, and we'll be looking forward to having you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Dr. Jagdishwar Gaur is a prolific robotic cancer surgeon from Hyderabad, south of India. So we are having this discussion around SSAT and would like to have your thoughts, sir.
Yeah, good evening to all. Appreciate the taking out time and teaching our students as well as updating our knowledge, sir. And hopefully the training modules like the ARIS, I think is one of the best training module I have seen for the last 10 years. Especially it's an association and surgeon driven. I personally feel industry driven training should be out, and association and surgeon based training should be in. And hopefully our president will interact with you in the future, and we would welcome you to be our faculty in the future conferences. Thank you so much for sparing time. And it's one of the AI in surgery is one of my favorite topic, and thank you for sharing your knowledge, ma'am.
Dr. Gaur is going to hold the next conference of ARIS in Hyderabad, likely. So, Dr. Udipta Ray from Kolkata, can you please come? Dr. Udipta Ray is a senior teacher, has been a professor in medical college, does a lot of robotic surgery procedures, and Professor Ray would share his thoughts on SSAT and how would he want to be involved. Sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bindal. It's a pleasure to be on this podium. Well, the most important necessity is to create more and more robotic surgeons. That is the most important issue, and at the same time maintain quality. Because there are a lot of things that happen and get reported. Of late, there are certain things that have happened, that some bowel injuries being projected on the robot. It may be such that the surgeon has missed the bowel injury, or it can be a problem with the robot itself. Either way. But our responsibility should be to create more and more competent surgeons and develop what is known as SOP. So it took a long time to develop SOPs with all laparoscopic procedures. So it was, of course, it comes with a variety of port positions with all procedures. But still, you have certain SOPs right now. So with robotics, it is time gradually to build up more and more evidence in favor of robotics. We need to have more publications, and this will definitely lead to more substantiation of our claims, and we can convince the insurance companies regarding how Indian data really matters. And in Indian perspective, where the huge population really deserves this kind of care, this is very important. So academics, training, and of course, quality maintenance and development of SOP. I think this is all that I can put forward.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We look forward to your inputs and your continued contribution. We have Dr. Sanjeev Haribhakti, sir. Dr. Haribhakti, sir, can you please come to the mic? Dr. Haribhakti is one of the most prolific GI surgeons in the country, and we are having a discussion around SSAT India chapter. So we want your thoughts around how SSAT can help the Indian surgical community.
Wonderful. I think that's a great initiative. I've been a member of SSAT for many years. I've attended many of the meetings in the US also. I think Dr. Bhalla had taken this initiative many years ago to develop a chapter, and it would be a very good thing going forward. I think what we should focus is on academic initiatives like imparting training, fellowship programs, developing fellows for people who wish to go for short-term fellowship to centers in the US. Even during the IESG session, we have a SSAT, one of the sessions, a joint session between the organizations. So I think a lot of learning can happen both ways. And we can have standardization of procedures, and our trainees, the younger trainees especially, they can have a wonderful opportunity to visit some of the good centers, because the system in the US is so different. When we go to the theaters in the US, the way things are done, they are quite different in the sense, the system, how it operates, I think. So it's good for the trainees to understand and see those procedures. And I think it's a great initiative, and I would welcome that initiative.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll need your continued guidance and support, and we want to do a program at your hospital in Gujarat.
Most welcome.
That will be wonderful.
Most welcome.
Thank you. Ashwin Thangavelu, there's a lot of young talent here, and Dr. Ashwin Thangavelu, the Vice President of South Zone, is here. He is a very dynamic surgeon, and we would want him also to come share his thoughts and would he like to be associated. And then I would also ask Dr. Abhishek Tiwari and Dr. Brijesh Dubey to share their thoughts. Just, wanting to have some discussion, and then we are going to move to the next session.
Thank you, sir. So the session was wonderful. I think it was my first interaction with the SSAT, and I think it's a really nice organization and a good platform for us to have a lot more insight in how to streamline the process, because that is what eventually we are all looking at. giving a good avenue for younger surgeons to kind of follow and have a good streamlined process for teaching and training. Because nowadays, we're probably seeing a little bit of abuse or overuse of videos which are not probably moderated well, and a lot of people learn wrong things and then they try to do it and then land up with problems. So I think this is definitely something which would be positive, and I'm open to the chapter which we would probably look at starting in India, and I'm sure it'll help a lot of people as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ashwin. That's a very good suggestion, I think, and we will require your support. Dr. Abhishek Tiwari. Dr. Abhishek Tiwari is a surgeon from Apollo and senior surgeon in various societies.
So this is also my first interaction with SSAT, and I am impressed with the kind of structure this organization is having and the future plans and currently how they are working. And I'd love to get associated with SSAT and work with the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Dubey. Dr. Dubey is already a member of SSAT India. So what are your thoughts? How would you want to take it forwards?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So I was inducted into SSAT, say around 2-3 months ago by Dr. Vivek Bindal. And then that evening itself, I went to SSAT website and Wikipedia and tried to find how this works. And it's great pleasure to meet you all. And as I was very much interested by Dr. Vilanovic's lecture, because that is one of my pet project of training and teaching the residents and how these things goes. And I'm more into this mindset training and all those aspects. So I guess once we meet each other more frequently and we'll get to know, and we can take this forward by this organization here.
Thank you. I can see so many more faces, Dr. Muralidhar, Dr. Sanjay Sona, Dr. Thangavelusa, Dr. Ashish Sadana, so many more people, but I think in the interest of time, we'll try to wrap it up and so I think we'll have last comments from the moderators, but tomorrow 10 a.m. in Hall C, we'll have an open house discussion with SSAT for SSAT. So those who are interested in the society can come to Hall C. All the international SSAT leaders will be there and we'll have a chart forwards, how to take it forwards.
Well, this has been terrific, and hearing from all of the leaders in Indian surgery has been so rewarding for us because we certainly want to be able to partner with you. I think there's a lot of things we have learned in this trip from you, and we certainly wish for this relationship to continue. We do offer, the SSAT offers a lot of research grants. And for those people who are members of SSAT, those research grants would be available. And some of them are as much as $50,000. So, please keep that in mind. We also have a journal, which is the Journal for Gastrointestinal Surgery, which is a very reputable journal. And please consider that as an avenue to publish your research. I know you have your own journal, but this will also give you some greater visibility. Before we close, I would like Dr. Imran Hassan to maybe say a few words, and maybe then we'll end with Dr. Walsh. So Imran, briefly, so that they can move on to the next session.
So thanks again. It's been great to see some new friends and some really, really old friends. It was a pleasure to hear everybody talk. And again, I thank for everybody's support for Professor Kate, Professor Bindal, and Professor Sudan in building the chapter. And I'm looking forward to future collaborations. Thanks again. And again, I'm so sorry we couldn't be there, but I'm looking forward to seeing everybody in person. Thanks again for the support. Professor Walsh.
Yes, I'll wrap it up from our end. I guess as a longstanding member of the SSAT, I have found it a very valuable society to belong to. What we don't often talk about is the multidisciplinary aspect of the society with our colleagues in GI medicine. And also, it's a great way to network with other surgeons and as well as gastroenterologists. So I have found it as also a society that you can advance if you work hard and participate. There's lots of opportunity for that. And we would love international people to be able to move up in the organization and be in leadership positions.
Yeah, so I would like to thank everyone for getting up on Zoom so early in the morning and, giving wonderful talks and exposing SSCT. I think it's a start of a long relation together. Thank you, and we'll proceed to the next session. Thank you so much.